I want to begin by saying we've been doing this every month for quite a while. And through all this talking, we've discovered something truly remarkable, that if we know each other, it's pretty hard to hate each other. And I'll say that again. You know, what we've really discovered, I think, is truly remarkable and noteworthy, actually, that if we know each other, it's pretty hard to hate each other, right? So people make sense if we first listen, and I'll use this expression, walk a mile in their shoes, right? So that's what this summer for us is about. It's when we take a break from today is from all the talking, and we'll just put on our metaphorical floaties and jump into the deep end of the pool to practice today how to understand people who may not look like us or think like us. Is everybody with me? Yes, thumbs up, or you can go, thank you. Or if you're not on camera, by the way, everyone, I'm sure we've all been on Zoom, at the bottom of your screen is a reactions button. And if you click on that, you have the choice to clap, thumbs up, a heart. I think it's crying, I'm not sure. A curious face and a celebration. So thank you, thank you, thank you. So I'm gonna actually just jump right in and share some two foods for thought, right? That no matter how confounding your situation is, ask, can I extend a sense of wonder to it? Again, so I'm asking you to, in this overwhelm or confounding moment, to ask yourself, can I extend a sense of wonder? So this means asking questions from true curiosity and seeking points of view that differ from your own, and shifting from either or to one of my favorite words in the English language, three-letter word, and, A-N-D, right? Or both, so can I add to your point of view mine, and us have two wonderfully, or three, four, five wonderfully rich points of view, right? So extending your wonder means seeing the beauty and learning inherent in the difficulty, and it can actually ripen to an opportunity for growth, not just for yourself, but for others. And I'll just share something from the New York Times. It says, it turns out that our instincts for how to convince others are often wrong. This is why two doctors who understand the barriers to full vaccination and the psychology of changing people's minds say the way to get people to change their behavior is not with argument, but with compassion. So on that note, let me share the 7 agreements. I'll start with number 1, open-mindedness, which is to show respect and to listen to understand. And Hasna will be actually putting them in the chat, so you have them as well. And I can send, if you're interested, just say yes in the chat, a definition, a list and a definition of all of these agreements if you feel that would be helpful. So again, number 1 is open-mindedness, and that's to show respect and listen to understand. Number 2, acceptance, right? To actually suspend judgment. 3, curiosity, where of course you ask questions to better understand. 4, discovery. So you can note any common ground as well as any differences. I think we're up to number 5 is sincerity. Be authentic. And when you're authentic, you actually model that for others to be that as well. Brevity, to be purposeful, to the point, giving everyone who wants to share a chance to share. And finally, ownership of the conversation. It's not meaning you hog it, but rather you're owning it to say, how can I make this conversation better? I'm taking that responsibility to how I can make that better. And I'll, last but not least, before we jump into conversation, share a little bit more of the benefits to listening. And maybe we will go into breakouts after that, but I'll check in. Nope, we won't. I'll check in with all of you. So listening, it touches the core need for significance in us humans. So when people listen to us, they give us time, and it sends a primal signal that says to us, I matter. So just absorb that for a moment, right? Just the act of listening, right, touches our human core of significance. And so when people listen to us, giving us their time, it sends a primal signal. I matter. Number two, I'm also giving you 3 more little tidbits. We feel belonging, which is one of the most powerful human motivators when we listen. When listened to, we have a seat at the table and we're part of the group. And so we feel we're in. And finally, feeling heard activates a basic human accomplishment. We have a voice. We have a chance to contribute. And we're part of the solution. So I'm going to open us up to talk about that. I hope that was helpful. Again, if any of that resonated with you as something you can see why it would be beneficial to offer that as well as receive it. And before we move into other questions, anybody want to just simply say what resonated for you with all of what I shared? Anything, any one of them, in either the agreements or the additional tips that, I don't know if they're tips, insights or benefits to listening?
I'll go ahead and just say, to me, it was when you're listening, you're taking the time to reflect on what you're about to say. That really resonated with me. So thank you for that.
Here's Ron. Ron said he was going to be coming late. Yeah, thank you, Hasna. Hi there, Ron. Glad you could join us. Yeah. So I'll just try to bring Ron up to speed here. We've gone through the 7 agreements. Can you see them in the chat? Everything we've put in the chat, just to let you know.
Okay, thanks, Michelle. Sorry to bother you guys. Yes, I have them. Okay.
Oh, okay. And I just shared 3 other wonderful benefits. Does anyone mind that if I just share that with, sorry, Alex. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Sorry, Alex, if you have to leave, but if you can stay, I hope so, but I understand. Alex has a little child with her.
Okay, see, they require care.
Yes, they do. A lot of attention. So I'll just hear Ron for you, and I hope Lisa, Meg, you don't mind my sharing this with Ron, that in addition to the 7 agreements that really help us listen, I share that when we listen, it touches a core need for significance, and that when people listen to us, they give us their time, and it sends a primal signal, I matter, right? What a gift, right? I matter.
Okay, there's only 6. Oh, open-mindedness is a 7.
Own the conversation. So, okay, yes. So
let me resend that in the correct order. Sorry about that, Ron.
Nope, that's all right. Okay, I'm listening.
No worries. So A, you feel that you matter. 2, we feel belonging, which is one of the most powerful human motivators when we listen, right? And when listened to, we have a seat at the table, right?
Right.
We're part of the group and we feel we're in, right? So belonging is just such a core human need. And finally, when we listen and are listened to, we feel that the feeling of being heard activates a human accomplishment, which is, I have a voice,
Right.
right?
Right.
We have a chance to contribute and we're part of the solution. So I'm just, right, exploring with everyone, what resonated for you, and Hasna, if you want to just share. I don't know if I think Ron came in after you shared. I don't.
Sure. I was just going to say again, it's the gift of time. When someone's listening to you, they're giving you their time, and I resonate with that a lot. And again, Michelle, thank you for sharing this and giving me a point to resonate to.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, all like it may seem counterintuitive, right? Because most of us are accustomed to being the one to speak, the one to convince, right? The one to not listen. And I hope this has been helpful to have you reconsider the true gift and the true power that listening provides. All right. So should we just go to, and Ron, is there anything you'd like to say before I ask some?
No, go ahead. Thank you. I appreciate you letting me join late. Go ahead, Michelle. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. So everyone, just listen, I'll read 3 questions and you can choose which one you'd like to answer. And again, let me just say, I appreciate if you are in a position, I believe, I can't remember who was at work anymore. Was it Lisa at work or was it Meg? Or maybe Meg's gone, that she was at work. But if you can't speak, and I appreciate you may not be able to turn on or unmute yourself, you can put your answer in the chat. You can put your answer in the chat. So what are the potential benefits that you might receive from listening to others with differing beliefs? Differing beliefs. So number 1, thank you, Hasna. Hasna has put it in the chat, right? So what are the potential benefits you might receive from listening to others with differing beliefs? Number 2, what fears, if any, do you have about how you will feel or what you will say or do when listening to people whose beliefs or experience differ from yours, right? From your own. What fears come up? And 3, what, if anything, are you willing to do to overcome fears about listening to those with different beliefs? And I that's really such an important, question. What are you willing to do? Yes, if we can agree that fears may come up, when people have different points of view. And so how can we overcome them and reap the rewards, as we discussed earlier, of all the benefits to listening? So anyone want to share which of those they'd like to either answer in the chat or unmuting themselves?
So Lisa has actually typed in the chat in response to question 1, personal growth.
Okay, I see. Thank you, Lisa.
Okay, I'll take number 2. I'm afraid that it might make the situation worse. And I could lose a friend because of the differing beliefs. So I might be a little reluctant to talk about someone who has a different experience than me, or a different understanding than I do.
Right. So I'm going to press you, Ron. Let's all, if we can all just say, oh yeah, I experienced that too. And I'm just, please, if we can all just imagine that for the moment, right? We're with Ron and we fear either losing a friend or having a contentious conversation.
Right.
Using the 7 agreements, how can you easily turn it into a gift? So I'm going to ask you, Ron, to go first, and anyone else again in the chat. Alex said, I hear that, Ron. Yeah. So
Okay.
Alex or Lisa or any of us, I'm happy to join in as well. Which of the, 7 agreements would you use? And we can do it actually right now to not have that outcome, but rather the benefit that comes with listening.
Okay, I guess I would say acceptance. I would accept their beliefs and their experience because we all have different experiences. And so just take it for what it is. Okay, that's your experience, that's your belief, and that's okay. We might not agree, but that's okay. So I would,
Exactly.
yeah, I would say acceptance.
So acceptance is one of our 7 agreements.
Right.
And can everyone see that even though I say, I accept that this is your experience, that tells the person, right, that I heard what you said is your experience.
Right.
And again, that's giving the gift of being heard. It is not equivalent to saying, I agree with you.
Correct.
So if I said, as a child, I fell off my bike, and ever since then, I hate bikes. Ron may not hate bikes himself, right? Or Hasna, but they can say, Michelle, I heard about your experience, right? And I'm accepting your experience, though it may not be yours. Is everyone seeing that very clear difference? So you can give the gift of having someone, give the gift of being heard to them and acknowledged without saying, me too. Yeah, thank you, Alex. Right? It is wonderful, and it's simple. It's just reflecting. So I'd like to, Lisa, I'm going to come back to you for personal growth before we go to number 3. Is there, and we're actually going to go into topics, or maybe I'll come back to think about, Lisa, if you wanted to have a conversation about something for us to practice right here, think of something that might really help you in an area of personal growth. I mean, it could be, I want to be a better cook. And so what recipe, could we agree on a recipe? And maybe not agree, but again, accept each other's preferences. But think about what topic you may really benefit from. Let's use this time together for all of us to get the most out of it. What topic might we discuss so you could? I'm going to go to number 3 for everybody before I come back to Lisa. And Lisa, it's fine if you have none that you want to dive into. So 3 is, what, if anything, are you willing to do to overcome fears about listening to those with different beliefs? This is really key to any part of life. If you commit to just one small act. And I don't know, Hasna, should I tell my starfish story about small acts?
It's my favorite story.
Okay. All right, quick story. So I'm saying to you that research shows that even though we think I have to take this big act, I have to climb Mount Everest, then, there's nothing else I need to do. So if I don't heal the world, if I don't cure the world of this issue, there's no point doing it. And I'm saying small acts matter. And here's the story. So there's a man walking along the beach, and he sees a young boy picking something up off the beach and throwing it into the water. And so as the older man approaches the young boy, he says to the young boy, "Hey, what are you doing?" And the young man explains, "Well, all these starfish have been washed up onto shore. And when the sun comes out, they will die if I don't help each one of them get back into the ocean." And the man looks at the beach and he says, "But there's thousands of starfish here. You can't possibly make a difference." And the young man bends down, picks up another starfish, throws it into the ocean, and he says, it made a difference to that one.
Yeah. Yeah. So true. So true.
So I say to all of us, right? We sometimes don't take, yeah, thank you, Alex. We don't take that small step thinking it's not going to be significant. And I hope each time you think that, you can think of the starfish story and choose to take that small step, knowing, right, that it does. It truly does. So if you can share in the chat, what one small step are you willing to take, right, to overcome any fear or fears that you have about listening to people who may have different beliefs or points of view? Thank you, Alex. Thank you for joining us, and our love to your baby. No worries, honey. Thank you. Much love. So what are you willing to do? Lisa, do you want to put it in the chat?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, what am I willing to do? I was still thinking about the conversation starter earlier about what I should, what I could come up with in terms of personal growth. Sorry.
We can do either, but
So-
you know, I just wanted to finish
But-
the 3 questions, and,
Oh,
and
sure.
and let's do it, Lisa. Let's get the most out of our time together. I'm happy to do that.
I'm new, so please forgive me if I'm like out of order. I'm not participating as I should. I just saw this invitation and thought it was a wonderful opportunity and wanted to join. So I guess for me, right, the first thing that comes to mind for me in personal growth is it's more of a personal nature and probably a lot to throw out. But I'm in a situation now where my mother is needing more care, and of course, you know, her role is that of being a caretaker of me primarily, you know, historically. And so now I'm in that role, and just that's personal growth for me to be able to have that conversation with her and determine, you know, what is it that she would like to have happen that she's comfortable with, and hear that, and then determine what I can do in response, and then offer any adjustments that maybe I can't do, or that that maybe I can't do now, but I can do in the future, so on and so forth. So it's a bit complicated, but
have me be your mom. Would you like to role play and have me be your mom?
Sure.
Okay. Okay.
So are you ready to get started?
Yep.
Okay, so Mom, you know, I'm a little worried because ever since Dad passed away in December, it's been really hard on you because you've had a lot more added to your plate. And when we talk sometimes, what I'm hearing is that you're feeling overwhelmed. And so I do want to be there for you. And unfortunately, I can't actually be physically present right now. And I'm wondering if there are other ways I can help, even though I'm not there physically. And have you considered moving here, for example? Would that be something that you see as a viable option?
Oh, you know, Lisa, you know, thank you for asking. I will do my best just to be, I'm sorry. I need to stop for a moment.
Am I causing that feedback?
No, 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 it's a siren. I live in New York, Lisa,
Okay.
and that was a fire truck. Sorry. There's no control of that, of course. So let me just say, you know, I'm going to be me. You know, thank you for asking. And I'd, you know, really love for you to be here physically with me, Lisa, because I'm feeling very lonely. Is there, that would mean a lot to me. So have you thought about doing that?
Yes, and I would love to do that. That would be my number one choice. And unfortunately, because I work in a different state, and I don't think I'm going to be able to, leave this position and find a new one comparable. And given the time I've already put into this position, I just don't see that as realistic, because financially, then I wouldn't be able to help at all if I was, not employed. So that's kind of a given right now. I kind of need to continue in my current position.
Thank you. So I'm just going to pause this, Lisa, for a second. And I did a hard thing. So I thank you so much for playing along with me. I appreciate that. So I didn't want to be, oh yeah, that sounds great. Let's, but I'll go to other options in a minute. I would just say to you, I sense how much you care about her. I'm feeling your heart so deeply, Lisa, that to just take maybe a moment or two, even though your mom may absolutely know this, to just remind her how much you care, to just remind her that you're asking her what you can do for her because you so deeply care about her. And yes, you too would agree that moving there may be the best option. But as you just said, without work, it would be not advantageous for either her or you. So Mom, can we explore other options for now, right? That will enable us to, will enable you to feel my support. Am I making any sense to you?
Yes. So validate that, how important she is to me, and how much I would love to be there, but follow up with the difficulty with, the position and being able to at some point relocate. Right. So what can we do in the interim, and what would work in the interim?
So the emphasis is on how much you care, how much you love her, which is why you're asking. So just give her at least this gift of, right, Mom, I really, really care, and that's why I'm asking, right? And even agreeing with her. So I absolutely agree, and it's okay, even if you agree that might be, and I don't want you to lie, please, I never suggest that, but could you say to her, that might be a really good solution? Would that be authentic for you to say that might be a good solution? Okay, so if you feel it might be, then to say, moving there might be a good solution, and I can see the benefits of that. However, the liabilities, as you just said, was I'd be, without any financial support, and that would put us both, right, into a disadvantage and a struggle, and choose whatever word you feel would describe that. How does that feel?
That feels good, and that feels authentic. I think that, sharing the feeling piece up front would be meaningful to both of us, actually.
Yeah. So you're not disagreeing with her. It's not a yes, but.
Correct.
Right? It's, I love you, I care about you, that's why I'm asking. Yes, I agree that option would be wonderful, if that's a word that whatever word you want to put to that. Yes, I appreciate the benefits to that, but here are the liabilities. And so then you can say, Lisa, what else can we do? How else can I support you now?
I like that. I really do.
Was that helpful?
Yes, it was. Thank you.
You're very welcome, and thank you for your willingness to take a hard answer from me.
No, that was a wonderful answer. Thank you.
Okay. Wonderful. We have still more time. Ron or Hasna, I mean, we all learn from each other all the time. So, is there anything that you would like to explore that we can all benefit from? Ron, just to let you know, I think you're on mute, so we can't hear you.
Yes, unfortunately, everything's going great for me.
Okay. So
Michelle, sorry.
So I was going to say, for those people who you were afraid to alienate a relation, those people who you disagree with, you've managed to accept, and all the relationships are good.
Yeah, I mean, I limit the contact. I pick and choose when to talk with them.
Can I give you some statistic though, Ron? And then I'll go to Hasna. Statistics in research indicates in any relationship, if we stretch or even go into something a little uncomfortable, it allows the relationship to grow because we respect it, hold it, and I'm almost going to say love it, right? So if I begin a conversation, and I was speaking to someone, well, actually, she told me her position on vaccinations, and she said, and I don't want to discuss it. So I couldn't. However, I would have enjoyed at least being able to say to her, I accept we may not agree and it doesn't matter. And I actually don't like saying we may not agree. It's just simply saying, I hear your point of view and I respect it. Because I think even when you say we may not agree, it already is creating that. And it came out of my mouth because all of us have a tendency to say that. But instead saying, I hear your point of view and I respect or honor that. Now that's a gift. And that might strengthen your relationship. Just offer. Hasna, did you have anything that you wanted?
Yes, actually, you just brought up the vaccination, which again is a topic that a lot of people disagree or agree on. And it's a current topic globally in the world. So it applies to everyone in this room. And to that point, I wanted to ask, because I did answer to question number 3 and saying I would be willing to ask someone and encourage them to share their opinion, knowing that it's different. So what would be your advice on a polite way to let them know that I'm listening and I'm not on the defensive, to have them open up with me?
Yeah, thank you. So if they said, let's just hypothetically say, I will not take the vaccine, I just don't believe in it. There are many questions, but out of, again, the 7 agreements, curiosity would be, can you share with me either your experience, your prior experience that led you to that decision, right? Did something occur that led you to that decision? Or is it, or maybe it's just even open-ended. What brought you to that conclusion? So I'd just be curious. And if curious is not comfortable, it could be, I'd really like to understand, how you came to that decision. So, yeah, is that right? And I could, if it's not someone you really know, to better understand you, I'd love to better understand you. Is there anything you'd like to share so I can understand how you came to this decision? And so you're really saying, I want to get to know you.
Okay, so showing an interest.
In them, yes, and getting to know them.
And trying, yes.
Right, and you're not saying you agree, you're not saying you disagree. Yeah. And then it's like, oh, wow, that's, I didn't know that either about you, or gee, I hadn't heard that. Thank you for letting me know. That broadens my understanding of this topic. And sometimes if you can, right, if you've just gained someone's point of view on something, it's like, oh, I just learned something new. Thank you. It doesn't mean you agree. Right?
Yeah, and that also goes back to number 1. One of the benefits of listening to someone, you might gain a different perspective.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I'll just share what someone said to me the other day. Her response to why she wasn't being vaccinated was, it's my decision, right? And when I hear that, and before I answer, when someone says to you, it's my decision, what are they telling you about them? What are they telling you about them?
Well, they're independent and they want to make their own choices. Which
And
is,
there's something else it's telling,
I'm not going to do what somebody else tells me to do.
right? Right?
It could be that they feel like they're forced to do it.
Right? Right? But I'm going to be controversial and I'm going to say, when I heard it, there's enough people, at least in our country, it's a whole bunch, who say no. So they could be following that herd. And there's a whole bunch of people who have said yes, and they could be following that herd. So for me, when you say it's my decision, I'm still saying, well, you could go either way. Either one of those could be your decision, right? And so how have you come to your decision? Do you see what I'm right? Because
Yeah.
no one's making you take it. I mean, there are people who are saying don't take it, and there are people who are saying take it. So you can feel forced in both camps, right? And so
Right.
the real question is, what is truly your decision and why? Because it could be either decision,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So where have you, which I'm saying no because you think the yeses are too pushy, but it's like, well, if you're making your own decision, even if the yeses were too pushy, you'd still say yes, right? It's like, I don't care that they're trying to make me take a vaccine. I believe it's best for me, right? And you could say the same for those who are saying, no, 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 don't. And it's like, okay, well, I'm not going to listen to them either. I'm going to make up my own mind. You know, here's the medical reasons or what have you, the concerns I have for not taking it, for taking it, right?
Mhm.
So I found that to be interesting,
Hmm.
right? That either decision is hopefully your decision.
Yeah. Interesting way of looking at it. Yep.
Right, 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 Ron. But it's true. Which herd are you following? Hopefully,
Right.
hopefully neither.
Right. Are you saying no because you're following everyone who says no?
Or are you saying yes
Are you-
because of all the people who are saying yes? And so truly, what is your decision?
Right. Right. How did you come to your decision?
Yes. Because to say I want to make my own decision is like, okay, which one's really your decision and why?
Yeah.
Right. And it was clear that this person happened to think the yeses, you got to take it, was the one imposing. So she was like, okay, so no. But that's not making your own decision, in my opinion. Does everyone see that?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You're letting, that,
Well, you're letting everyone else dictate what you're doing.
yeah,
And in a sense, you're not making your own decision.
exactly. Right? Isn't that lovely?
Yeah. Do you find, Michelle, that conversations are becoming more difficult and people are becoming more contentious? It's getting worse?
I will answer that in not a blanket statement. Yes, no, Ron. I really think what we're doing here is what matters the most. So just as we were discussing, you don't want to you stay away from conversations. And I appreciate there's some people who you just know you can't. I knew I could not really have any conversation with this person because she made it clear, and I'm not willing to talk about this at all. So I couldn't even say, I couldn't ask a question because she said, I don't want to talk about it. Okay, so I respected that. And I said that to her, I respect you're not wanting to speak about it. And so I'll answer it. I really have found, Ron, and I'm not saying it's easy, the more I practice these 7 agreements, the more I practice what we're doing here. And that's why I'll say to everybody, come back next month. Because the more we practice when we're in that situation, we've rewired our brain to not go to the old convincing, as the New York Times said, right, which doesn't work.
Right.
But to use one of these 7 tools to give the gift of listening and being heard. There's no other way. So it will be contentious as long as we keep trying to impose on and come with I'm right, you're wrong, as opposed to I want to learn more about you and I'm willing to listen, and I'm going to mute myself right now.
Okay, so you're making us, we're each the little starfish. We're going to do it one at a time. Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's coming a little closer, so I'm going to mute myself again.
One conversation at a time until, like you said, we're rewired and we can start listening and speaking in a more open-minded manner.
Yeah.
Questions are just so powerful, right? And they're done again from the heart. Sorry.
Is it easier, do you think, to have these conversations with acquaintances or close personal connections?
I apologize, but apparently he was at a red, I don't know, he was not supposed to be at a red light. I'm sorry, Ron, can you please ask me that one more time, and then I want us to wrap up, but I couldn't hear you, I'm sorry.
Okay, I was just curious if you think it's more difficult to have these difficult conversations with acquaintances as opposed to close personal family or friends, if the connection makes it any different. Is it harder to talk to strangers than it is to family, for example?
So before I answer, I'm going to ask you, what do you think?
I think it's harder to talk to family.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Right, because we have the history and the emotions, and even it's harder if they're choosing something that we don't agree with. It takes a lot of strength just to say, okay, we don't, again, I honor your decision. When we're in our heart of hearts is thinking, oh, this might be harmful to you. So I'm going to say family is a little harder. But again, given, Ron, I'll just end with this, given trying to impose or convince won't work anyway, right? If we know that's not an advantage, we might as well go to, yeah, I think yes. Thank you, Lisa. We might as well go to, I respect your decision.
Right.
And sometimes just providing that gift, Ron, as I respect your decision, may open them to coming back to you and saying, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about it.
Right.
You never know.
Right.
So on that note, I'm going to come back to, on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you? And I'm going to ask the two of you, and Ron, Lisa, if you have found this time together beneficial at all, if you could just write a sentence or two, as a review, be our reviewer. And so that we can put this on, we're going to be putting this on our website page, putting this as a page, I'm sorry, on our website, so that other people will join us. More people will join us if they can sense that someone else benefited from being here. And I hope the two of you have. Would that be a fair? So I'll ask you this, on a scale of 1 to 10, how beneficial, Lisa and Ron, how beneficial have you found this?
Okay, I'm still writing. This may take me 2 weeks to write this.
Well, we don't have 2 weeks, but we do have a few minutes if everyone's okay. Lisa, anything you'd like to share? Oh, and I'm sorry, let me say this. If you would like to yes, great. If you would like to just again in 1 or 2 sentences, email this to me, I can.
Okay, I've just put it in the chat.
Right.
I can email.
Great. So I'll copy that, or maybe Hasna, if you can copy that, I'll try as well to use it. And Ron, I'll just offer this to you, and Lisa the same. I'll put my email in the chat. Oh, and Marisa 11 is not working these days. So let's do Michelle at Collaborative Solutions. It's a little longer, I'm sorry, but my other email seems to be not working. If you email me 1 or 2 sentences, that would be your review or testimonial. I'm happy to meet you one-on-one separately and go even deeper in this conversation and help you very personally. So again, getting reviews, as again, motivates me and motivates other people to join us. And so as a thank you, I just want to offer a private one-on-one. That's a $250 value to help you practice and go even deeper. Okay?
Thank you. Yes.
You're very welcome.
You're always very helpful, Michelle. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. And I so appreciate every time you come. So thank you, because you showed up exactly at a perfect time.
Okay.
All right. Lisa, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you will share some thoughts, and I hope to see you again.
Okay, everyone take care. Stay well.
Thank you, Michelle, and thank you everyone for sharing and having a great conversation.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Ron.
Okay,
Bye,
thank you.
everybody.
Thank you, Hasna. Bye-bye. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Okay.
So we can stop the recording.